My brother brought his girlfriend home for a holiday dinner for the first time. During the dinner, his girlfriend suddenly turned to me. Chloe Davis, you look so familiar. I remember now. I saw your pictures on Pornhub. You have a really hot body. She finished, then quickly clapped a hand over her mouth, pretending she'd spoken out of turn. All the relatives at the dinner were stunned. Then they started pointing fingers at me. Young people these days really have no morals. What's her stage name? I want to check it out too. I, however, calmly set down my fork and smiled at her. I also think you look familiar. Oh, I remember now. I performed several abortions on you. My brother was bringing his girlfriend home this year, and my mom was so thrilled she gathered all our relatives for a big family dinner. At the dinner table, my brother's girlfriend, Serena Lewis, was incredibly well behaved. She proposed toasts to the adults, told jokes, and not only charmed my mom completely, but even had the relatives praising Brandon for his good taste. Just as everyone was soaking in the warm atmosphere Serena had created, a relative turned to me. Chloe, you work in New York. You must be earning a lot of money. Your cousin graduates next year. You really should help her find a good job. Other relatives chimed in. Your mom says you give her $1,500 a month. That's amazing. Not like our useless son, who can't even find a job. Chloe, what exactly do you do in the big city? I was about to answer when Serena suddenly put down her glass and asked me, Chloe, even though this is our first time meeting, I just feel like I've seen you before. I offered a polite smile. Maybe I just have one of those faces. Serena shook her head, staring intently at me, scrutinizing my features. No, it's not an average face. I definitely saw you somewhere. Ah. It was as if something clicked for her, and a look of sudden realization dawned on her face. I know. You're an influencer on Pornhub, aren't you? The moment she said that, several relatives at the table visibly stiffened. Serena seemed oblivious to the sudden change in atmosphere and continued. I've seen your pictures. Your body is so hot. I can't believe I'm seeing you in person now. She finished, then abruptly clapped a hand over her mouth, looking like someone who'd just said something regrettable. I was stunned. I couldn't believe Serena would fabricate such a rumor right there. My first instinct was to confront her. What in the world are you talking about? She immediately put on a show of being wronged and apologized. I'm so sorry, Chloe. I just spoke without thinking. I never imagined it would be you. I really didn't mean it. Please don't be angry. Serena's words were so direct that all the relatives' gazes shifted, scrutinizing me. Young people these days are so open-minded. No wonder she always says she's busy and only comes home once a year. So that's what she's been busy with. No wonder she's so rich. She's selling herself. How embarrassing. The relative who had just asked me to help her daughter find a job quickly retracted her words, clearly worried I might lead her daughter astray. What I said earlier doesn't count. My daughter would never do something like that. It's utterly disgraceful. 2. My mom's face was beet red from the relative's whispers, her hands trembling. She looked at me in disbelief. Chloe, are you really an influencer on Pornhub? My brother's eyes were also red with anger, glaring at me. Chloe, is what she said true? Did you really do something so shameless? No, I didn't. I cut them off, my voice firm and resolute. Hearing my explanation, they still looked skeptical, their faces tight with doubt. I stared at Serena, the architect of this slander, a suffocating knot of anger in my chest. This was my first time meeting Serena. We had no history, no grudge, yet she had inexplicably pulled a stunt like this. I said, my voice low. Serena, you can't just go around spreading lies. Defamation is a serious offense. At my words, Serena seemed to grow even more tearful. Her eyes red, she whispered timidly. Chloe, I really didn't mean it. Can you please forgive me? It was something that could have been cleared up with a single sentence, but Serena deliberately chose to be vague. I truly didn't know what I had done to provoke her. But for Brandon's sake, I still managed to hold back my anger. Serena, the person you're talking about isn't me, and it couldn't possibly be me. You must be mistaken. I tried to guide her toward an explanation, but she acted as if I was pressuring her. She immediately choked up. Chloe, don't be so mean, you're scaring me. I truly didn't mean it. I didn't know your family would care so much about this. I just thought the person in the photo looked a lot like you and casually mentioned it. How can you say I'm slandering you? Serena kept circling back to the same point, continuously implying that I had been involved in something illicit, but was too ashamed to admit it. This time, I couldn't hold back anymore and yelled. Serena, we have no personal vendetta. There's no need for you to target me like this. And then Serena cried. She sobbed, hiding behind my brother, presenting herself as a poor, wronged victim. She explained to Brandon. I'm just a straightforward person. I say what I think. Brandon, you have to believe me. I really wasn't targeting Chloe. Seeing her distress, Brandon immediately pulled her into his arms to comfort her. Then he turned on me furious. Chloe, do you have to be so aggressive? If you really didn't do anything like that, How could Serena just make it up out of thin air? Don't you have any self-awareness? My brother's barrage of accusations, his words, showed no regard for my situation as his sister. Even if our sibling relationship wasn't the best, I never imagined he'd side with an outsider to bully me after hearing just a few words. The relatives, hearing him, chimed in their agreement. Exactly, if you don't want people to know, don't do it. Serena is such a sweet, sensible girl. How could she possibly spread rumors without reason? I think Chloe really did something shameful. My mom slammed her hand on the table, pointing a finger at my nose. Chloe, you tell me clearly. Did you or did you not do those unspeakable things? If you really did, I'll disown you. I reiterated to my mom that I hadn't done anything. Then I scanned the faces of all the relatives present, my gaze finally landing on Serena. I said, Serena, since you claim you saw my photos in that circle, then produce the evidence. Otherwise, I'm calling the police right now to report you for defamation. Serena's eyes flickered. Then she stood up to go get her phone from the room. To prove my innocence, I'll find those photos and show them to you right now. Soon, she returned with her phone and in front of everyone, pulled up that photo of me. 3. She let everyone browse the picture, then thrust it in front of my face. Her tone was slightly triumphant. Chloe, see for yourself. It's really not me slandering you. I just had my best friend's boyfriend look it up on that site. This side profile picture is definitely you. The full-body side profile photo on Serena's phone showed someone in revealing lingerie, and the side profile did indeed bear a 9/10 resemblance to me. But I hadn't done it, so I wouldn't admit to it. As soon as Serena came back with her phone, I felt a pang of suspicion, like I'd been secretly photographed. I vocalized my thought. What can a side profile picture prove? Oh right. You just secretly photographed me, didn't you? And used my picture for AI synthesis? I stared into Serena's eyes, and sure enough, I saw a flicker of guilt. But she stubbornly refused to admit it. She once again put on that wronged, pitiful expression, choking out. Chloe, you can't accuse me just because you don't want to admit it. We're family, why would I slander you? I should have known better than to come with Brandon. If it weren't for me, your family would definitely be happy. Serena spoke with such apparent sincerity that the relatives quickly rallied to her defense. Aunt Carol mocked me for having no upbringing. Chloe, you're shameless, and you still have the nerve to blame others? Having you as a relative truly embarrasses me. Uncle Robert angrily reprimanded me for disgracing the family name. Our Davis family reputation will be ruined by you. How can you face us? How can you face your deceased father? Other relatives chimed in, their words as malicious as possible. Shameless, what was the point of college? If she were my daughter, I'd have slapped her to death already. So unlucky to have such a dirty thing in the family. My mom listened, trembling all over. She had always been very concerned with appearances, and now, seeing the so-called evidence, she was absolutely furious. Chloe, how did I raise you? You insist on shamelessly degrading yourself, don't you? How could I have given birth to such a disgraceful daughter like you? Hearing the harsh accusations, I felt a deep sense of powerlessness. My own mother and brother, the people closest to me, didn't believe me. At the same time, Serena spoke again. This time, she urged me to admit my mistake and turn over a new leaf. She said, Chloe, it doesn't matter if your body is dirty, as long as your heart isn't. Don't worry, we won't tell anyone about this. At her words, I let out a cold laugh, then spoke with a chilling edge. Serena, you know best whether the person in that photo is me or not. As for dirty, you're the dirtiest one here. I locked eyes with Serena, wanting to see just how far her depravity truly went. Serena seemed startled by me, instinctively shrinking further into my brother's arms, her voice trembling slightly. You, what are you talking about? How am I dirty? You're the one selling your body, not me. The dining room went silent. Dead silent. The kind of silence where you can hear a refrigerator humming 3 rooms away. Serena's face, previously flushed with the excitement of her performance, drained of color. It was instantaneous, a physiological reaction I knew well. The blood vessels constricted, the adrenaline spiked. She looked like a deer in headlights, or more accurately, a patient who had just been given a diagnosis she didn't want to hear. What did you say? Brandon's voice broke the silence, but it lacked his earlier conviction. He looked back and forth between his girlfriend and me. I picked up my napkin and dabbed the corners of my mouth, maintaining a terrifyingly calm demeanor. I said, I remember her now, I repeated, enunciating clearly. Serena Lewis. Or was it Serena the Sweetheart, on the patient intake forms? You came to the Metro General Volunteer Clinic 3 times during my residency. Twice for terminations, once for an ST. Shut up. Shut up. Serena shrieked. Her composure shattered completely. She grabbed a porcelain bowl from the table and hurled it at me. I dodged instinctively. The bowl smashed against the wall behind me, sending shards of china raining down onto the carpet. She's lying. She's making it up because I exposed her. Serena screamed, grabbing Brandon's arm. her nails digging into his flesh. Brandon, she's trying to ruin me. Look at her, she's evil. How could a doctor talk about a patient like that? It proves she's not a real doctor. My mother, recovering from her shock, found her voice. Chloe, have you lost your mind? Making up such disgusting lies about your brother's girlfriend just to cover your own filth. I don't lie, Mom. Unlike your guest, I said, standing up. And I don't need to sell myself to make money. I'm a chief resident at one of the top hospitals in New York. My salary covers your mortgage, your bills, and Brandon's car payments. But apparently that money is dirty now. I looked at the relatives, who were staring at me with mouths agape. Aunt Carol looked like she had swallowed a lemon. You all seem very concerned about the source of my income. I continued, my voice cold. So, to spare you the moral dilemma of accepting dirty money, I'll be cutting off all financial support effectively immediately. You wouldn't dare, Brandon sneered, stepping in front of Serena to protect her. You think you can threaten us? We know what you are. I know exactly what I am, I said, grabbing my purse. I'm the person leaving. Get out. Mom screamed, pointing at the door. And don't come back until you kneel and apologize to Serena and the whole family. Don't worry, I said, looking at Serena, who was trembling, her eyes darting around the room looking for an exit strategy. I'll be back. But I won't be the one kneeling. I walked out the front door, the sounds of Serena's sobbing and my relative's chaotic murmuring fading behind me. As I stepped into the cold night air, I didn't feel sadness. I felt the cold, hard clarity of a surgeon preparing to cut out a tumor. I checked into a hotel downtown. The first thing I did wasn't to cry. It was to open my banking app. Cancel standing order. Mom's mortgage. Cancel standing order. Brandon's car note. Cancel standing order. Mom's allowance. Cancel supplementary card. Brandon. My phone started blowing up immediately. The family group chat, which I had forgotten to leave, was a torrent of abuse. Aunt Carol, you ungrateful brat. You ruined the dinner. Uncle Robert, repent Chloe. God is watching. Brandon, you canceled my card? Are you insane? Turn it back on right now or I'm posting that picture everywhere. I screenshotted Brandon's text. Blackmail. Good to know. I sat on the edge of the hotel bed and pulled out my laptop. Serena thought she was clever. She thought she could use a deepfake to ruin me because she recognized me. She did recognize me. That part was true. 3 years ago, I was doing my rotation at a free clinic in the city. It's a high-volume place. You see hundreds of faces. But Serena's face was memorable because of her attitude. She had been rude to the nurses, demanding and entitled. She had come in under a different name, Sarah Lee. But the face was identical. And the birthmark. A distinct, jagged birthmark on her left hip. I needed proof. I couldn't access her medical records without losing my license. HIPAA is ironclad, and I wasn't going to destroy my career for a lowlife like her. I had to find public proof. I called my friend Mark, a forensic data analyst I had dated briefly in med school. Chloe? It's been ages. Everything okay? Not really, Mark. I need a favor. Someone used an AI generator to put my face on a porn star's body to blackmail me. I need the metadata traced and I need to find the original source image of me they used. Easy, Mark said. Send me the file. I don't have the file, but I have a picture of the picture. I sent him the photo I had snapped of Serena's phone screen right before I left the house, a split-second reflex I had developed from years of documenting evidence. I'll get on it. Also, Chloe, if they posted it, we can scrub it. But if they just showed it on a phone. She showed it on a phone, but she claims it's from a site. Give me an hour. While Mark worked, I went to work on Serena Lewis. If she was a grifter, she had a trail. People like that don't just appear out of thin air. I started with reverse image searches of her face. Nothing on Facebook. Nothing on Instagram under Serena Lewis. Then I tried a Russian search engine, Yandex, which has better facial recognition for obscure profiles. A hit. A profile on a site called Sugar Baby Connect. The name wasn't Serena. It was Lola_love. The profile was active 3 years ago. The location, New York City. Lola was looking for generous older men. There were reviews. Lola is fun, but watch your wallet. She likes to cry to get extra cash for rent. I kept digging. I found an old Instagram account tagged in a club photo. Sarah_official. It had been inactive for 2 years. I scrolled through the photos. Selfies in bathrooms, shots of expensive dinners. And then I found it. A photo of her on a beach in Miami, wearing a high-cut bikini. There on her left hip, clearly visible, the jagged birthmark. I downloaded everything. 2 weeks passed. I hadn't heard a peep from my mother, which meant the reality of the bills hadn't hit yet. But I knew the cycle. The mortgage was due on the 1st. Brandon's car payment was due on the 5th. On the 6th, my phone rang. It was Mom. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. And again. Finally, I answered. What? Chloe. Her voice was shrill, panicked. The bank called. They said the payment bounced. And Brandon's car. They're threatening to repossess it. And. What do you mean and? You need to fix this. Send the money right now. I told you, Mom. My money is dirty. I wouldn't want to stain your reputation with my porn earnings. Stop being petty. We're family. Serena was just mistaken, okay? She admitted she might have been wrong about the picture. She's willing to forgive you for the nasty things you said about her if you just apologize and pay the bills. I laughed. It was a dark, hollow sound. She's willing to forgive me? That's rich. Mom, listen closely. I am not paying a cent. Not until you kick that woman out of the house. I can't do that. She's pregnant. She's carrying your nephew. I froze. Pregnant? She told you she's pregnant? Yes. She's 2 months along. Brandon is so happy. You're going to be an aunt, Chloe. Don't be a monster. Send the money. We need to plan the wedding. The pieces clicked into place. The urgency, the sudden appearance, the attempt to isolate Brandon from his family support system. She was locking him down. Mom, I said, my voice shifting to a professional, clinical tone. If she's pregnant, she needs prenatal care. Bring her to the city. I'll get her an appointment with the best OBGYN in my hospital. Free of charge. Really? Mom sounded suspicious. Yes. If she's carrying my nephew. I want to make sure the baby is healthy. Bring her this weekend. We can have a dinner. I'll pay for everything. Okay. Mom breathed a sigh of relief. I knew you'd come around. I'll tell them. And Chloe, bring the checkbook. Oh, I'll bring something better than a checkbook, I whispered as I hung up. I booked a private room at Le Bernardin. If I was going to execute an execution, I wanted it to be over fine dining. I invited everyone. Aunt Carol, Uncle Robert, the cousins. I told them I was hosting a reconciliation and engagement dinner. They all came, naturally. Free food and the promise of drama were irresistible to the Davis family. I arrived early. I set up a small projector at the end of the table. For a slideshow of the happy couple. I told the waiter. When the family arrived, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Brandon looked smug, wearing a suit I had bought him 2 years ago. Serena was glowing, hand on her flat stomach, playing the role of the fragile, expectant mother perfectly. Mom looked anxious but hopeful, eyeing my designer handbag as if checking for cash. Chloe, Aunt Carol said, sniffing. I hope you've prayed for forgiveness. I've done a lot of reflecting, Aunt Carol. I smiled. We sat. We ordered. Serena made a show of ordering only water and thoroughly cooked meat, for the baby. So, Brandon said, leaning back. Mom says you're ready to apologize. I am ready to clear the air, I said. But first, I have a gift for the couple. I pulled a remote from my pocket. Serena, you're so tech-savvy, I thought you'd appreciate this. I clicked the button. The projector whirred to life. The first image was the photo Serena had shown everyone on her phone. My porn photo. This, I said, is the photo Serena claimed to find on Pornhub. Take it down. Mom hissed. There are children here. Relax, Mom. Look closer. I clicked next. A photo of me from my graduation 3 years ago appeared. I was wearing a sleeveless dress, standing in profile laughing. I clicked again. An animation played. It showed my graduation photo being overlaid onto the body of a porn actress. The match was perfect. The lighting, the angle. It was a deepfake, and not even a very good one. My friend Mark is a forensic data analyst, I explained. He found the source code. This image was created on an iPhone 14 Pro, 2 days before the dinner, using an app called Face Swap Magic. The IP address traces back to the Wi-Fi at Mom's house. The table went quiet. Brandon frowned. So, maybe someone hacked our Wi-Fi. Maybe, I said. But let's talk about Serena Lewis. I clicked the remote. The screen changed. A massive screenshot of the Sugar Baby Connect profile appeared. Lola_love. Who is Lola Love? I asked. Serena gasped. She stood up so fast her chair tipped over. Stop it. Brandon, let's go. She's faking this. Sit down, Serena, I said, my voice projecting with the authority I used in the ER. Sit down or I call the police for the fraud you're committing right now. Serena froze. Brandon looked at the screen, then at Serena. That looks like you. It's not me. It's AI. She's doing it to me now. Serena cried, tears streaming down her face. Is the birthmark AI too? I clicked next. The beach photo. The jagged birthmark on the hip. I clicked again. A zoomed-in photo of Serena's leg, taken by a cousin earlier that evening when her skirt rode up. The same birthmark. Serena. I said gently. Or is it Sarah? Or Lola? I did perform those abortions. You came to Metro General. You listed your occupation as entertainment. You were treated for chlamydia twice. Brandon. Serena wailed, grabbing his lapels. She's lying. I'm pregnant with your son. Are you? I asked. I pulled a file from my bag. I can't pull your medical records, Serena. That's illegal. But I can do math. I looked at Brandon. She says she's 2 months pregnant. Brandon, you've been dating for 3 months, right? Yeah, Brandon said, his face pale. And you were away on that oil rig job for the first month and a half. You only slept together for the first time 6 weeks ago. Brandon blinked. The gears were turning. Wait, if she's 8 weeks pregnant? Then the math doesn't work, Brandon, I finished. I looked at Serena. There is no baby, is there? Or if there is, it's not a Davis. Serena's face contorted. The sweet, innocent mask fell away completely, replaced by the snarling visage of a cornered animal. You bitch. She screamed. You jealous, dried-up rich bitch. You think you're better than me because you have a degree? I hustled for everything I have. So you admit it? Uncle Robert asked, horrified. Yeah, I admit it. Serena yelled, turning on the family. I admit I wanted a payout. Look at you people. You're pathetic. You leech off her, she pointed at me. And you treat her like garbage. I thought, hey, if they're going to bleed her dry, why can't I get a cut? She looked at Brandon with pure disgust. And you spineless mama's boy. I couldn't stand touching you. I had to close my eyes and think of the money every time. Brandon looked like he had been shot. He slumped into his chair, burying his face in his hands. I'm leaving, Serena spat. She grabbed her purse. Don't follow me. She stormed out of the restaurant. Silence descended on the table once again. But this time, it wasn't the silence of confusion. It was the silence of shame. The waiter arrived with the appetizers. Escargot for the table? We're not hungry, Mom whispered. I am, I said, spearing a snail. I paid for this, I'm going to eat it. I looked around the table. Aunt Carol was staring at her plate. Uncle Robert was pretending to clean his glasses. Mom was weeping softly. So, I said, chewing slowly, let's talk about the future. Chloe, Mom sobbed. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. How could I know? You didn't know because you didn't trust me, I said. A stranger came into our home, called your daughter a porn star, and you believed her instantly. You didn't ask for proof. You didn't defend me. You jumped on the bandwagon because you were jealous. Jealous? Mom looked up, shocked. Yes. Jealous that I made something of myself. Jealous that I don't need you. And you. I looked at the relatives. You love to tear me down because it makes you feel better about your own mediocre lives. That's harsh, Chloe, Uncle Robert mumbled. It's the truth. And the truth costs money. I wiped my mouth and stood up. The house is going on the market, Mom. What? Mom went pale. You can't. Where will I live? The house is in my name. I bought it. I paid the mortgage. You can move into a condo. Something small and affordable that you can pay for with your pension. I turned to Brandon. And you? Get a job. A real one. I'm selling the car. If you want to drive, take the bus. Chloe, please, Brandon begged, his voice cracking. She played me. I'm the victim here. You're a victim of your own stupidity and greed, Brandon. You were so happy to see me humiliated that you didn't stop to think. I picked up my purse. I'm going back to New York tonight. Do not call me unless someone is dead. And even then, send a text. I walked out of the restaurant, leaving them with the bill. 6 months later, my life in New York is quiet, peaceful. I blocked the whole family for 3 months. It was the most productive quarter of my career. I was promoted to attending physician. I heard through the grapevine that the house was sold. Mom moved into a 1-bedroom apartment near Aunt Carol. They spend their days complaining about how heartless I am, but they do it quietly, because they know I still hold the purse strings for emergencies. Brandon joined the army. Apparently, he needed to get away from the ridicule of the town after Serena's pregnancy. Turned out to be a lie she told to 3 other guys in the county. As for Serena, or Lola, or Sarah, I saw her again recently. Not in person. I was scrolling through the news on my lunch break. A headline caught my eye. Romance scammer ring busted in Florida. There she was. The mugshot was unflattering. No makeup, bad lighting. But the birthmark on her neck, one I hadn't mentioned to the family, was visible. I smiled, took a sip of my coffee, and swiped to the next article. I had patience to see. Real ones.